Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs, 2Bs from GundamReviews.net, and as the Zaku hops out of the way here of the Age 3, I suppose that Sunday nights don't get any bigger in terms of anime here, because until the new Gundam series starts, this is as big as it gets, because it's the beginning of the end of Gundam Age as the third generation kicks off with a new protagonist, new lead Gundam, and let's see how this is going to follow up in Flit and Asim's footsteps. There's tons to talk about this week, but I'm going to stick with my format of character, MS, and scene of the week, although there will be more than one as a lot of people were introduced. First of all, for character of the week, one of the ones that certainly stood out for me was seeing Zehardt Galette. He's certainly become a much more mature commander, and just seeing him lord over the Vegans as they invaded the Earth was very, very cool, but you could also sense some sorrow in his eyes, and I wonder if there's going to be some dark history that we're going to get revealed. Another character that stood out for me, and in a good way for the first time in a little while anyway, was Flit Asuno, the protagonist of the first one, who became somewhat of a driven madman. Well, I wouldn't go that far perhaps in the second generation, but it was sort of cool to see him in this third one. We have no idea what happened in the plot after his purge of the Earth Federation. Maybe he's been run out of the government, maybe he's retired, maybe he's calmed down. But anyway, it was sort of cool just to see Flit in the role of the cool older grandpa, with none of the baggage that we've seen before, as he was getting the new protagonist ready to take over. And I think that I really should get the older version of Joseph here to play Flit from here on in. Runner-up for character of the week, though, is going to be the new protagonist, Kyo, he of the third generation after Flit and Asim, Asim's son. And basically, I'm not a big fan of his character design or his voice the first time I heard it. We did see some redeeming qualities through the episode. He went to save the kids, and he wasn't afraid to hop into the Gundam and take over when he had to. Just a little bit of trepidation, but he basically took to it pretty fast. It's going to be very interesting to see because he seems to be a new type right from the beginning, or an X-Rounder, and it's going to be neat to see how that plays off compared to his father and grandfather. But for me, there was only one character who stole the show, and that was the second generation's protagonist, Asim Asuno. Now the sad part is that he only had about 2 minutes, but it was a great 2 minutes at the beginning, as he witnessed the birth of his son, gave him a name, and then said that I have to head off for one last mission. Now, what happened to him and in the meantime, and is he going to show up? These are the kind of questions that are going to loom over the whole series. And actually, it's sort of cool that we're going to have a relaxed-seeming Flit and an Asim just sort of off in the background, and I can't wait if he does show up again, because you know it's going to be epic to see the three of them together. Lots of new MSs debuted, as is fitting of a time skip here, and how about those Brave Souls team? I was actually really impressed with their mobile suits in the form of the Clanch, which is a pretty funny sounding name for an MS, but even the Genoist, the Zero Custom or whatever it's called, all of these are looking very, very cool, and the Gym and the Grunt suits that I'm not normally a fan of, these third gen ones are certainly they've won me over already just one episode in. It was a great debut for the Grunt bad guys for the Vegans. I was really impressed with their new third generation. It goes back to the transformation of the Gafran, except it's looking much more dragonish. It's got the cool back toe colors, and I was very impressed with all the weapons. It did look like it was shooting watermelon seeds out of its mouth at some point, but it was really cool in both modes, and it's certainly something that I can't wait to get my hands on the high grade. Zehardt's new mobile suit, though, the Garaga. When I saw the previews, I thought for whatever reason that it would be the Zedora just turned into a grunt mode. But it's sort of cool to see that it is going to be Zehardt's. He's got a lot more episodes ahead, hopefully 23 or so, where we may get another upgrade, as he's already gone from the ZSR to the Zedora to the Giraga. And anyway, can't wait to see where it's going to go from here. Very cool that they sleeked it down instead of bulking it up. And the tail is looking very, very impressive. And again, a high grade I can't wait to get my hands on. But overall, was there ever any doubt as to the true star of the episode in mobile suit form? I'm talking about the Age 3, the newest protagonist, and can't wait to add this to my collection once it's in Master Grade 1/100th. Quite a few things did a pretty good job of it in terms of its actual fighting style. It looked great in the opening, and it did look very double Zeta-ish. The Core Fighter was sort of cool the way they introduced it, and the G-Scepter, as lame as it was. I was really impressed that when it combined we got the two cockpits, which is sort of cool to see Flit and Kyo in there together. You've just got to wonder if Asim's ever going to make an appearance as well back there. Overall, I thought it had tons of power, the big gun on the back, the beam saber coming out of the forearms was sort of cool, and something that I can't wait to try in model form. For Scene of the Week, there was a lot of good ones, but one of the things that started this episode off with a bang was at the beginning, when all of a sudden the big ring, which was such a key part of the Earth's defense force, in the second generation, all of a sudden just getting obliterated by a decloaking laser, and then a whole Earth invasion fleet combined with their remnant forces, and all of a sudden it looks like we're going to have a great midsection to the series fighting down on Earth old school Gundam style. Another cool moment saw Kyo down and out, and all of a sudden, I don't know what kind of vehicle that was, but it showed up with old man Flit Asano in the back, and it turned out to be the core fighter, and as Flit jumped ninja style on to bring out the G-Scepter before these combine for a great setup scene. Where for the climax of the episode, with them worried about the explosions of the Big Zam, it was great to see real sumo style the H3 go double Zeta, pick it up, fly off into the sky, toss it away, and then use its huge gun to blow it up at a safe distance. And this is the kind of thing that just set up a great cliffhanger for next week, because all of a sudden the arrival of a new and advanced and evolved Gundam 3 was just enough to enrage Zeheart and send him in for the next week's fight. But ultimately for me, the best part of the episode was at the very beginning. Yeah, Kyo had a pretty okay debut, and the H3 had a good one, but ultimately it was Asano just as a holdover from the second generation, where at the end, even though he was a non-X rounder, he became the super pilot, mature, cool, calm and collected, trusted by his father for the big things, and in the end, how cool was that to see him with his infant son in his hands, and then say, I'm going off on one more mission. And it's the kind of thing that obviously has haunted Kyo's life up to now, but it's the kind of thing that's going to hang over the show, I'm sure, as we all wonder about his fate, what role Zeheart had in it, and always wonder if he's going to be coming back so we can have the family together. So just like the first episode of any new show, there's so much to talk about overall, so just in a random order, some of the things that I picked up on, and I can't wait to see how it's going to go from here. First of all, there's no familiar faces on board the ship, it seems, or in the Sol Braves. I thought it was Arisa or something, DK's daughter. Doesn't look like it's going to be. Anyway, Asim's fate, of course, is going to be great. And going back to the opening, I love to see the old school Gundam and Age, the way the images showed up there, double Zeta style, with the H3 looking very impressive. And something that blew my mind was the thought that we may be having, yes, a crossbone Gundam. There's all sorts of cool stuff. I thought the music, the themes did it for me, and the background music actually did good. It set it apart from the second generation, but I think that they had a few good songs throughout the way. Flit calming down is going to be great. Zeheart, what role he played with Asim. And one thing that's really going to bug everybody probably, unless you are a fan of the old school 80s ones, is yes, 3 annoying kids on the ships we may be getting. Somebody else that I was really impressed with, I like the Sol Braves in general. I thought they were very cool in their MSs and their execution. Can't wait to see Kyo join them, as I can assume. And then Sarek seems to be filling in the role of Wolf. In terms of the cool older senpai, he even has the glasses on and is looking good. But one thing I had to laugh about was just the introduction of a girlfriend for Kyo already. It makes sense they did it so early for Flit and Asim, as they eventually had to become the mother of the heir to the family fortune, by which I mean the Age system and flying around in a Gundam and fighting Vegans and Martians. But at the end of the day, does Kyo need to have a girlfriend right away? It's the kind of thing that makes me wonder about the speculation. People have been commenting about Age 4 and if they're going to do a movie and whether we'll see a new Gundam to go along with the Holy 3 that we've seen so far. And anyway, it was just something that I had to think about, and I wonder what you think about that. So please tell me with a comment down below. Overall, I thought this episode did a good job of hitting all the right notes. Introducing Kyo, the H3 had a good debut. We did get a satisfying wrap-up mystery with Asim, and there's still lots of questions that you want to see. What's going to be happening? What about this new captain that's putting on her shirt at the end of the episode? Anyway, lots to see, and I can't wait to see Kyo join the military from here on in. Something else that looks good is, as we only had about 14-15 episodes for the previous two, by Kyo having at least 20-some episodes, we could be getting more than one opening and ending theme song, but more importantly, there should be more time for character development. I don't know if at first glance Kyo is going to be as fun as the other two protagonists, but that we've still got more time to see. Anyway, everybody, thanks for watching very much, and why don't you let me know with a comment down below. They did enough to make me certainly want to keep watching and reviewing, so stay tuned next week for episode 30. When we get to see the H3 in more action, and it looks like it's going to be getting its wares early, which should bode well for the show and for buying the plastic models. Anyway, everybody, we'll see you next time. Bye. Yes, I think I found my actor for Grandpa Flit.